program because President Trump was feuding today with Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, who, when he was running for Senate in 2010, misrepresented and made it sound as though he had actually been in Vietnam. He had not. He did apologize for it. The president called him a phony Vietnam con artist after Blumenthal appeared on CNN. But what's interesting is this whole subject of Vietnam, if you're President Trump, because President Trump, like Blumenthal, sought deferments, except unlike Blumenthal, never actually joined the military. Blumenthal did join the Marine Reserves. And there are these quotes about him joking about Vietnam in 93 and 97 on the Howard Stern show. If you're young and in this era and you have any guilt about not having gone to Vietnam, we have our own Vietnam. It's called the dating game, President Trump said once. And then another time, I've been so lucky in terms of that whole world. It's a dangerous world out there. It's like scary. It's like Vietnam. Stern says it's your personal Vietnam. It's my personal Vietnam. I feel like a great and very brave soldier. That's him talking about avoiding venereal diseases or sexually transmitted diseases. If you are Donald Trump and Vietnam is not something like for John McCain or for so many others that there's really nothing to criticize about your service, why even bring this up?
Because he just wants to hit Blumenthal. And frankly, I'm not mad at Trump being called on this, and I'm not mad at Blumenthal being called on it. If you tell a lie about your service that is designed to get you forward in your career, this is what annoys people about Trump, that he's not used to getting called on it. Senator Warren's not used to getting called frequently on the fact that she faked some stuff about her heritage, and they get called on it. They don't like it. Trump has plenty of vulnerabilities. He's also president of the United States and became president with those vulnerabilities. So he's sort of in this weird way bulletproof in that position, and he doesn't care. He just goes after Blumenthal. Yeah, and I don't care if either one of them has to answer for this.
I have no issue with somebody who told a lie being called on that lie, especially when it is a lie like that is like a stolen valor type thing. You're claiming some service that people actually went through, and it was horrific and it's searing, and many of them never survived from it. And you're actually appropriating that. But at least he joined the military.
This has always mystified me, I'll be honest. It just has always mystified me how the president is so inclined to affiliate himself with those who have served our country. He loved to surround himself with people who'd received medals in combat. And any objective analysis of his own record is that he dodged the draft. Now, a lot of people, there are a lot of different sides. I've never had to face that choice, so I'm not.
Nobody at this table has served in the military.
I'm not gonna judge anybody on that. But I hope. I think this whole thing is silly. He's bullying a senator, and I don't even know how much time it's worth considering. But I don't understand how someone who stepped up and served our country can think that our president is an honorable man when he did not.
I want to talk about this New York Times story that said that aides to Pence have been reaching out to donors and other people in the Republican Party saying, if Trump is not on the ticket in 2020, and that's 3.5 years away, and who knows what's going to happen, Pence is there and he's ready. Not inherently an offensive thing, but boy, the Pence team has been pushing back on that. He issued a statement. Right. Calling it fake. Well, go ahead.
Well, because I think in the Trump White House, Pence's path to self-preservation and ambition is the same path. Like, you cannot be stealing Trump's spotlight and then also hope to be in the position that he perhaps would like to be in at some point. It's perfectly rational for him to make some sort of plans for that or have that thought in his mind, but he has to communicate that that's not part of it.
Yeah, I think he doth protest too much on this one. He is doing everything that a sitting vice president who's planning to run for president would do, setting up that political action committee, the amount of political events he's been doing, how much he's traveling around. You have to imagine people are whispering in his ear, even joking with him all the time. You might be president, within the next 4 years. But look, we've been around this stuff. The detailed reporting, the specific conversations, the specific things that were said, you don't get that out of thin air. This is clearly happening. He is clearly planning to step in if needed. I don't imagine that he'd run against Trump in a primary, but I think he's getting ready to.
Oh no, the protesting too much is part of what he must do in order to get there.
But don't you think? Don't you think Pence's aides would be committing malpractice if they weren't saying that to people?
Well, and there's also the part where Pence's aides are much more traditional GOP aides who know that world in a different way than the Trump folks do. So having those kind of connections is their job, and having those kind of conversations is their job. Unlike, say, a Scaramucci, who was not plugged into that world and was not naturally having those conversations.
Yeah, but you need to be there to beat back just if something happens and President Trump decides not to run or whatever.
And he's caught flat-footed.
You don't want Nikki Haley, heading to South Carolina.
Well, the other reality is this is the sane wing of the Trump administration, right? If you want someone who you can objectively go speak to, I would argue that some of Mike Pence's ideas are not that sane, but they are, you can deal with them in the normal manner. You can't do that with the White House.
All right, Mary Catherine and Robbie, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Not even